Hi, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the craft room. Today's video. We're on our Fractal Star blanket still. This is the third episode. The rest are all in a playlist which will be linked to this video at the end. You can also look it up in the playlists. But first of all, I thought I'd show you what I made this week other than the blanket parts. And the first one was this nice mustard hat beanie. I think Canadians, you call it toques. Not sure on that one. You have to correct me if I'm wrong. This one was made with a 12 ply and an 8 ply held together. So we had a different number to start with. This was on size 8mm needles and we had 55 stitches. And this is in a knit one purl one patterning for 11 inches. So I'm quite happy with how this one turned out. It stretches quite a bit and it was quite nice to make up. And while I was doing that, the cat just woke up, I also wanted to make a sun hat with granny stitch. So I found this pattern on the internet. Now this is Easy Granny Stitch Hatch by Knotting Hook. I will put a link in the description. But it's also got Kelsey from Passion Knit, her end part, but I also changed the colour. And I also tried to make the top look a bit like a daisy. Do you reckon it looks like a daisy? So I made that, and the main thing that I didn't like about it is that it is a bit small on the top. It fits this, but it doesn't fit me because I got a lot of brains. But anyway, so I was playing around with it, but while I was doing that, I noticed that there was a pattern on the wrapper. So this is made with Lily Sugar and Cream, quite a well-known cotton. It's about a 10 ply if you're Australian. And so we made the pattern bigger so that I could read it because it's very pale. So that's the pattern that's on the back of the wrapper with my chalk scratchings on the side. And this is it made up. Now, I'm not particularly happy with this bag. Couple of reasons. The stretch on the net is kind of going the wrong way because it only goes that far. But when you turn it this way, it goes for miles. So you could put a rolled up yoga mat in it, but it wouldn't hold much in the way of vegetables that are big. Other thing I didn't like was how narrow the base is. So if you look at that, that's all you've got. So if you fill the bag up, it's going to tip over. All right if you're carrying books that are upright, but like these are generally used for carrying vegetables. And yeah, it's a bit narrow. And the other thing I didn't like is how wide the strap was, because this uses 3 balls of sugar and cream. And if you made the strap narrower and turn the mesh the other way, you might use less yarn. So you could make this, maybe this is 8 stitches wide. If you made it say 5, you've still got the 2 edge parts. And the other thing I didn't like is there's no decreases on the handles, on the edgings. So it ripples a bit. If you had the decreases, you wouldn't have so much rippling. I am considering redoing this pattern, but with my changes. So I'll let you know if I do that. And we might even have a video, I don't know. We'll see how we go. So getting back to the hats. So I made this one and I thought it's a bit tight. So then I was playing around and did the same pattern in yarn and added another increase to the top. Well, it's actually pairs of increases. And then I thought, oh, I might play around with an edging. So this is my bright idea. This is my crown beanie. I've got to do a bit more work to it, but I'm just showing you the thought processes, you know. It goes well with these dragon scale fingerless gloves that I made to go with it. So that's that one. That being said, today's video is about the next part of the fractal blanket. And so the first week we made these, which is the 3D square. And then last week was these, which is the equilateral triangles. These goes on the side and the squares go on the corners. And so this week what we're doing is we're going to be edging them. Now, I did mention this at the end of the last video, but I wasn't actually showing you how to do it. So this video is going to be slightly shorter because all I'm going to do is show you the 2 edges and show you how to pin them together ready for the next video. So not going to be a terribly difficult one this time. I'll show you the square as well. So that's the square edged as well. And that's what we're going to go and do now. Okay, so before we get started, I wanted to give you an update on the amount of yarn we've used so far. So as you saw before, I've done all the triangles, all the squares, and all the edgings except for the last 2 pieces. And the only yarn that's close to being used up is this lightest of the second colorway, because that's the one that's gone the longest distance. Bring it down, so it's doing the 2 rows with the most amount of stitches in it. So I will probably have to get another one of these. So that's your lightest color. The rest of them are around halfway or more, so I don't think I have to rush and get any other colors. So for this one, we don't actually need the other colorways, so I'll just move them out the way. We only need your white or cream. So this is the color that you started the squares with, this one in the center. So I'm going to start with the triangle first, and I'm going to use a standing double crochet. So this is my end here. We're going to make a slip knot like that. Give yourself a generous tail so that we can weave them in. I forgot to say that before. All these have had all the tails woven in, and I have woven them in the area where the color is, so that even on the back it still looks as neat as the front. Okay, and also the good side is the side with the largest row of worked stitches. So this is what we recognize. If you can see the top, this is what we recognize as a standard DC. So when you can see that rather than this part, this is your good side. So look at the last row and make sure that the V's are like tilting towards this way, because it's the right way up, if that makes sense to you. That's the same as with the squares. Which one, your largest row has the DCs the right way round, is the good side. From now on, we are working on the good side only. We are not turning the blanket over at all, from memory at all. So to make a standing DC, which we have used in the others, but I'll do it again, is you have the slip knot on your hook. Put your finger on the loop that's on the hook and just put a loop. Just go like that. That way it won't fall off. Now I like to start on the edge that doesn't have the nice top. This is the not expanding edge. So that's where I'm going to start. And I'm going to go, this is my magic knot here. I'm going to go into this hole and complete the stitch like a normal double crochet. And as you can see, what that does is that puts our knot away from the work. The other thing I like to do is this is also going to be a plain granny cluster. So I like to start and only do 2 here, so that when I come back around, I can do the last one there and the join is hidden in the middle of the cluster. The other thing I need to do here, we're going to have the same amount of stitches on these sides as we do along here. And you're going to say, how can we do that? It's longer. Well, it is, but also stitches stretch a bit. This side will look a little bit thinner. Actually, I could show you on this one. This is the one I've done. And as you can see, these look a little bit sparse, but they're not under strain. It's not curling up. I mean, the corners are curling a little bit, but that's because they're sharp angles. But it does lay flat. It does look different to these sides, but once you add it to the blanket, this will sort itself out. So it does look a little bit looser and more gappy, but it does work. I double, tripled, and quadruple checked. Other thing I was going to say, before I forget, I have found that I only noticed it because these are the new Porter Crafts. It actually says on here that it is a 3 weight. Now I know in other countries you go by weights and your standard is usually a 4 weight. Now for us, a 4 weight would be a 10 ply. This is an 8 ply. So yours will be bigger than mine, when I get this bit done, I will actually get the blanket out and I'll show you the difference between this being in 8 ply and the one I did in 4 ply to start with. So anyway, I just did it without telling you, didn't I? Let me undo that. So we've done the 2 double crochets here. Now we're going to jump to where the 3rd row, so it's the first time we use the lightest green color, is actually attached to, and we're going to do our cluster there. So we're skipping the join of the 1st and 2nd, and we're putting it where the 2nd and 3rd join, and it's going in that spot, and that is just a standard cluster. And then we're going to jump this one, go to this one. We're going to jump our way to the end and doing normal granny clusters between, no chains. I did try and put chains between it on this edge and it just looked so wrong, so I'm not doing that. And like so, these are just normal granny clusters, 3 double crochets into the same hole, leapfrogging your way up. So you jump the one in between and put your cluster in the next one. And then leapfrog again. I think we have one more leapfrog and then we've got the corner. Yes, and this one's the last leapfrog. Like so. So we'll just have a look at that. So we've got the half in the middle, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll have 6 on the other side. That'll make 12, 13, count the ends. So it'll be 6 of those, 6 of those. The one in the middle makes 13, which is how many we should have on the other side. So now I'm going to hold this up so you can see. We're going to go into this is our chain. We're going into the top of that under 2 loops. And then we're going to make a corner in this spot. Make sure every time you go in there, you're going under the top 2 loops. And 3. Now, if you remember what a corner is, it is 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and then another 3 double crochets. And one more. All right, so that is our corner. We have turned the corner. Now, for this part here, where I am, from here, all the way here, all the way back, is standard granny squares. So I'll just do one. Standard granny squares is just like we're doing there, but we're putting them in the gaps between the clusters that are on the row below. Just like that. So that's our corner turned. And then at this corner, we're doing 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in that corner. So I'm going to go and do that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to turn this corner and then meet up back where you started. So we've just done all around here. We've done that at the top and we're back to this corner here. So what I'm going to do now is ignore the cat, and we're going to go into the top of the last double crochet right on the corner. We're going to try, there is an actual knot there from the previous row, but we're trying to get the loops just behind that, and we're going to do the same as we did on the other corner. We're going to put a corner, which is 2 clusters and 2 chains, in that loop. So just keep going back through the same hole. Ignore the knot because it will fall in the middle of the corner. So that's our first one. Now we want to turn it all around, and then we want to go on the other side but in the same knot. And now we've actually covered up that actual knot. As you can see, it's just a little bit in there. And so now we run back down this side, leapfrogging to where the colour changes. And keep going, leapfrog again. Just a normal granny clusters, nothing special. Well, it's special because we're doing it, but not difficult stitches. Do that one. Uh-oh. And the last one. Which gets us back to the middle where the magic circle was. And we're just going to put our last double crochet in there. And then underneath where the end comes out, just wiggle your hook in. As you can see, there's 2 strands on the top here. That's what we want to do every time. And then pull it through both with a slip stitch. Chain 2, cut yourself a tail so that you can weave it in afterwards. So that is the triangle all done. And you will have 13 clusters here, not counting the corners, 13 on the sides. So that's that one. While we're here, we will bring the square across and get that one started too. Now with the square, I'm starting, this is our first 2 rows in white. We are starting on the edge of that, which is right here. Now if you remember with this one, I did this the wrong way around. If you remember in the first part, but it doesn't matter. No one's going to look that close, and if they do, they deserve to see something. Once again, I just did that out of focus, didn't I? A slip stitch, put it on your hook, and then wrap your hook around, keeping your finger on it so you don't lose it. You're going into, so this is where the magic circle is. You got 1 gap, you got 2 gaps. And then we're, hang on. Try that again. I had my loop on the hook the wrong way around. Pull it through. You should do that a little bit closer. So it's like that, and we go in the hole, out. And you see my finger here has stayed on it. That way you keep the tension right on the standing double crochet. So because this is an actual corner, I'm going to do the complete cluster on this side. And then when we come all the way around, we'll do the other half of the corner here so that the knot stays in the middle and we won't see it. So the first the first 2 clusters are just normal clusters. And then once we're off that, we're going to be putting most of the clusters here where the color changes, but for just this first one, put the first double crochet of this cluster in the white, and then the rest of it, the other 2, you put them on the color. And what that does, because this is a little bit bigger of a gap, it'll cinch it in a bit for you. Now all the rest will be on the chain 3, which doesn't have a cluster on it. So that's one there, as you can see. So the next one is here, then here, then here, then here. So that is just your normal clusters, nothing special, nothing difficult, I should say. Get to the corner. And that one, just 3 in there. Now for this last one, we're going to put a cluster in here. And then we're going to put a corner at the top of this DC right on the end. So make sure you're under 2 loops and put the corner in there. So first half is here. Yep, make sure you don't forget the loop. Chain 2 and then put the other half of the corner in the same spot. Let me finish the cluster and I'll show you that bit. This actual edging is also, if you're going to make this as a 3D blanket, this is how you do the edging anyway, so it's good to know this edging. So that is your corner there. Move my hand out the way, right there. So the rest of this square is just normal granny squares to there, and I'll come back and show you how to do the last bit on the bottom. So I'll come back when I get to here. Here is our square, and I have gone all the way around here, normal granny square corner in the corner, and we're back to here. This is our last cluster before we hit this corner. Now we want to go into the top of the very last stitch, and we're going to do exactly what we did on the other, let's call it the raw edge corner, not the worked corner, and that is work a corner into this one stitch. So there's 3 double crochets there, chain 2, turn the work a little bit and do another 3 on that orientation. My big word for today, orientation. And work your way back along. This first one goes where the color changes. It was the chain up 3 for every row, if you remember doing those. Work your way along. These little bits here, these are the ends of my weaving in. They won't be noticeable once I go past. Honestly, I did weave them in. I went past 3 times. It's just the very end bit. I always leave a little bit so that it can pull back in as the blanket gets used. I cut them too short, then they pop out. And along. And one more. Not one more, a couple more. So when you've done all 8 of your pieces, 4 squares and 4 triangles, that is all the pieces that you need to get done before we can start putting the middle of the blanket together. So we did it wrong there. Remember from before, 2 in this one and then 1 in the actual white corner, just to cinch them together a bit. And then finish the rest. So as I was saying, once you get the edges done and woven all the ends in, we can start putting the middle of the star together, which is worked in decreases towards the middle. And this is where we have our single, not now, but when we do that next part, is where we have our single difficult stitch. So to finish this off, we normally have 2 chains at this end. I'm only doing 1, and then I am doing the slip stitch join like we did on the triangle. Chain 2. Now what I'm going to show you in a second, we're going to pretend that I've woven all my ends in. Get all this out the way. And the next thing we want to do is I'm first going to just show you on here the difference in sizes of the pieces that I have made. So this is my blanket that I did first, and I'll move that down a little. Yep. So here is the square, just a little bit up. That's the square on my 8-ply cotton blanket, and now this is the same square on the 8-ply acrylics. So if I move it across, it's approximately 3 rows bigger in size. These are both 8-plies, but the difference between the hook size and the thickness of the yarn shows you how much bigger it is. And if I show you on the triangle as well, that one's even more noticeable. So here is our triangle here, right here, this shape here. And now if we put this one here, and I'll line up that corner, this goes, that's where the original triangle stops. And I've still got that much more on the yarn triangle, the acrylics. And if I lined it up this way with this corner, the peak of the triangle is here. Move that down a little bit. Peak of the triangle is here, but my peak on this one is here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 rows bigger, just to give you some gauge. So if you're using, this is like a 2 weight, and the one I'm using now is a 3 weight. If you're using, say, a 4 weight, it'll be bigger still. Right. Next job. Let's check something. That goes that way. So the next thing you want to do is you want to lay out all your pieces, and we want to get them matched up. So I'm just going to show you on this corner first, because I don't have enough space here to show you the whole thing. We want to match up the centers. I'll bring it up a little bit more. So you want to match up the centers, and you want to match up the gaps. So if I put a stitch marker, this one's not staying in, this is just to hold it in place. So that's matched up the 2 corner parts. And then you want to match up all your edges all the way down, 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 one more till you get to the other end. I'll just put a clip in here and then I'll bring it up to show you. So you now know that these are the same distance apart. Maybe if I go that way you'll see it. There we go. So that's matched up to here. Now we can take this one off, but we need to match the next triangle. We've got our white parts going outwards. This is going to be a corner. This is going to be a side. So if we get the next one and we put it like that, we need to do this all the way around. I will show you in a photo at the end what this looks like. We just need to get this all attached together before we start the next section. Match them all up, match them all up. You could also count, but you know, why make things logical? And there. So I have, on this one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the corner. Make sure it's the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the corner. So once the end is done, you can take that one out and then put the others around. So put the square up here, can't even see it, a square up here, a triangle here, a square up here, and work your way around. So I will do that, and then I will show you a picture at the end what it looks like, and that will set you up for the next video, because we'll be filling in these gaps. We'll be crocheting inside these gaps to make our star shape. So you will need at least 8 to 10 stitch markers, similar to this, ones that will lock, and you pin that all together and then wait for the next video, which will come soon. I promise. I don't have to do anything else after this other than make the next video, because this is all set up, ready to go. So look for the picture at the end, and I'll see you on the next video. Please if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share and subscribe. And if you've got any comments, put them down below and I'll try and answer them all as soon as I see them. And I'll see you on the next one.